Hi, hello, and welcome to the Revolving Door series brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess of Abundance. I'll be your oracle today, and I'm sent to deliberate the findings for the April Revolving Door. The full moon is in Libra, which means that the guidance will be for the masculine, the findings will be for the feminine, although it's evolved. So it's more mixed, and masculine is further from the camera, feminine is closer to the camera. I'm actually going to go ahead this month and do dialogue. Now, if you're not in a twin union, false twin union, distorted union, catalytic union, soulmate union, it could just be devotion, truly. So sometimes the divine masculine can be the collective. Sometimes the divine masculine can be the creator. If you're not in a union, regardless of your gender, you're the divine feminine. If you are in a union, it depends on whatever your polarity is. You can be feminine, body, assigned female at birth, identified female at birth, still identified female, and actually be embodying the masculine energy. Masculine energy has nothing to do with genitalia. It's really more about how the energy is directed. Masculine energy goes out and yields toward the feminine. Feminine energy actually reflects inward and receives from the masculine. Okay, so let us begin. Okay, again, like I said, we're in Libra this month. I'll go ahead and, we got this one already. That's unfortunate. I hope that's a message to the reader. I'm gonna take it as such because I just didn't do enough shuffling. Well, one thing I know is that the creator's been waiting for this. So why don't we go ahead and get into it? I can't accept that, y'all. Y'all gonna need to give me better. Oh, and they said they would. Wunderbar. I did pre-shuffle and meditate and contemplate, so I think the energy is already ready because my ears are going off like crazy. I'm getting the little indicators of an incoming channel. And we said we're going to, since the sun is in Aries, the moon is full in Libra, we're going to go ahead and give the guidance to the divine masculine. That's only important because we'll shuffle the divine masculine side first. Okay. Don't worry really about what it is. Pardon me. Okay, so hi, hello, and welcome to the 1111, or as we would also call the Divine Partnership Assessment. It's for the karmic. And a lot of the industry term uses karmic incorrectly in my professional opinion. But let me just preface how I use it, how we use it here in-house. Every soulmate relationship is karmic. You don't even need to be in an intimate union with somebody. Okay, karma really just means the energy that you have to purify in order to get to the divine alignment that you are infinitely endowed with as a birth of a human being. So we start this cycle coming in, the divine masculine is saying, well, there's something to strip. We need to shift around the belief here. We exit this cycle expanding. It's been a long time in coming, this expansion. So it might have taken a moment to get an idea. It might have taken a moment to understand the thinking, to shift, to evolve. If you're not in a union, it would mean that there's been poverty consciousness. It might not be poverty consciousness. It could simply be stinking thinking, and it would be like you're hoping, wishing, and praying for some kind of gift, some type of grace. Okay, now in reality, what we're having here is that the gate is opening up. Now it's the gate of the soul, the gate of the heart, the gate of the authentic nature of the human being, the humanity is showing. Now, we're going to have to get through this conflict, this challenge, this crossing, this conundrum, collaboration, essentially. The feminine may be under a lot of confusion. They may be experiencing some attacks as well. We do have a little bit of energy here of stagnation, so that somebody might have intentionally or unintentionally gotten themselves into a situation where they're stuck, they're stagnated. There's definitely a need to move on, move forward, get to higher ground, mature a little bit. I'm detecting, even though it's not here, it's something that do with the thinking. I can sense it, I can feel it, I can't entirely see it. We do have the stinking thinking here. You know, what I'm being told is that there were nasty elements, ideas, false beliefs, mislabeling, misjudging, misperceiving. It can also be external energies that are trying to, the word is corral, block off every exit so that it's a tie down sales tactic. Block off every exit so that you can only go through one door, you know, cordon you off until I'm hearing the word kill chamber. So there may have been some we're going on this journey towards transformation. There can be an ending. It is a little bit of strictness too. And I am being told that the universe is coming back in and turning this into whatever it needs to be. So sometimes we're in situations where we're the problem because we're not letting go, or because we're not confronting what's confusing, or that we're succumbing to fear. There's other situations where, because the sacrifice that needs to be made is we need to step into, oh, what, hold on. That's much better. And still it's the same thing. I'm gonna slightly augment it. We're gonna be forced to confront. We're gonna be strongly prompted to confront the sacrifice to make here is to confront the stinking thinking. Something comes forward where it forces us to look at our perspective, examine our perspective, and see if we're in alignment with the divine or not. If we're willfully moving towards the divine or willfully moving away from the divine. And it's going to act accordingly, because the karmic broom is coming through to sweep energy away. There's a little bit of glare. Let me take care of that. Pardon me just a moment, darling. Give me a moment, please. Excelente. Gracias. Okay. The glare's on, great. Because Mama don't like that glare. Mama don't like glare. Okay, so yeah, we're being forced to confront our, you know, the Five of Pentacles can be stinking thinking, can be stuck on stupid. It also can be poverty consciousness. It could also be an attack in the physical. Typically, it's when a root starts to gain root, literally starts to gain traction. And we do have that here. Some kind of working has gone down. But it could also just mean like a fear or some type of low vibrational idea got in the water and started, you know, got in the environment, got in the system and started to run amok. And that now it's kicking off all these other, it's called cascading symptoms. Now everything's kind of congruent, but on the nasty. And it's almost like God has decided, because remember we had this hangman here, that's God. So God actually said, you know, I'm going to show you my angry form. I'm going to destroy some things here. And so that's what's happening here, is we're having this karmic sweeping, whatever. If it's us and our stinking thinking, if it's the other person with their sour nature and low vibration, it doesn't matter. Because here we're like trying to, you know, confront what the fears are, or confront what we're confused about, or confront what we're in the dark about. And there is anxiety. It may be a lack of courage, which is shifting. This time, instead of just being bold and blazing and brazen, we're actually going to be authentic, genuine, and sincere. And so the strength and the courage is about being secure in the self. Because in the past, of what we come into the cycle is this heart is opening up. We're having an expansion of love. However, we leave with this slow, practical, or just dull. It's like anticlimactic. Like, okay, we don't get what we want, but we get what we need. And if this is a karmic cast, that it would be like that, because there's some kind of justice coming, alignment coming. So there's been an imbalance, there's been an injustice, and there needed to be a triumph over evil. And unfortunately, I can't rule evil out. The evil has to deal with sacrificing one's own belief. It needs to evolve. The belief here is rather basic. And honestly, truly, genuinely, what we're coming to receive here, male or female, is the true authentic nature. Authentic self, true nature. Authentic self, true nature. See, I was telling you that I was detecting a triumph over evil, and then now here we have the devil. So whenever the devil comes out before the Lovers card, it's talking about a karmic connection. And we're being led down this journey. So if you're in this group of people, there needed to be some type of evolution, maturation, and we needed to leave. Not just leave physically, but in our mind, leave behind old thinking, old paradigms, whatever we were trying to expand, whatever we were trying to collaborate over, whatever we were praying for and calling up in the universe, we needed to evolve because it was low vibrational. It was a vibration that would have invited in darker energies, darker forces, lower energies, archonic forces instead of angelic forces. Because externally or in the collective or collaborating or in the divine masculine, there needed to be a higher perspective, a different perspective, a spiritual perspective, all the same. And now we're coming into hope, faith, and optimism. That's what we're focusing on. Bigger and brighter and better future, hope, faith, and optimism for the present. Faith and connection to creation, being able to call down, summon down from the universe. That's that which is what is in alignment with our authentic, true, genuine, and sincere path. Our spirit, karma, life path, destiny, it needs to be in alignment, frankly, in alignment. Our future path needs to be in alignment. And there's a block or focus or a shared energy of toxicity, darkness, or control. There's some kind of fly in the soup, some kind of sand in the yogurt, some kind of dirt in the system. And yeah, I'm hearing these Lebanese colloquialisms, the yogurt drinks. Okay, that's what's going on. So we can't. There's a freeze, there's a pause. We're going to be forced to confront darkness. You know, that happens. I'm myself included. A lot of me and my sisters, a lot of me and my priestess sisters and friends, female friends, it's almost like we have demons from the past coming back, and we're stuck, we're pinned down, we can't run away from them. So we have to confront them. And I'm noticing, because we're all kind of warrior goddesses, you know, we're a little more intense and combative and combustible, but that's not what's been going on. It's almost like we get frozen in fear for a second, and what comes out is compassion, because we see that we've changed, and then this other energy entity is coming at us the same, trying to bring up the same, you know, crap from the past. And it's like, dude, I can't be the person that I was to deal with you in this, you know, crap that you're bringing. You know, I've evolved. What happened to you as well? You know, oh, you're still the same. You're different. You hear, and the response is, well, I would hope that I'd be different. Unfortunately, you're still the same. And I'm not even sad for you. I hope you find your healing. Please excuse me. That kind of evolution, because we are moving out into a brighter dawn. The horizons are expanding, but right now I wouldn't say we're trapped, but we're attached to getting to higher ground. We're attached to getting more. We're attached to the the realization that the current situation is unacceptable. And again, we have to collaborate with the creator, meaning co-creation with the universe, be in alignment with the divine vibration, and it will harmonize you onto the proper path. Unfortunately, when you're harmonized onto the proper path, you start to attract what's right for you. You also begin to repel what's not in alignment with your path, okay? Let's fix the camera for a second, my darling. It's gonna be a little bit clunky for a second. Thank you for bearing with me, I appreciate it. So in these situations, because they're unpleasant, it's a purging, it's a purging. But see, after the cleanse, the devil comes. So what happens is we transform something in ourselves and the devil came back to see if we were still a victim in some kind of way. If there was something else that it could be exploited because their supply got cut off. Okay, remember what I said, you know, it's a military strategy, it's literally called the kill box. You corral them into a specific corridor where they're easily accessible, and the egress, the ability to exit, is not readily present. And the ingress, meaning the moving into this little corridor, it's forced. So it's reactionary. When you get reactionary, you get the adrenaline up, you get the logic down, and that becomes a perfect prey. I'm so sorry. This is a little bit of a darker reading, and listen, Mama is fierce and savage, but that's not something I show to people, because once you see that, it's a wrap for you. So just because I'm speaking scary, my children, don't be afraid, my darlings. We got to go through this, and I'm right here with you. Okay. So now the situation is as such. Once we confront this devil, we're going to have to look at things from a different way. We need to realize that things can get soured pretty easily, and that's where we're moving towards. But where we're coming from is knowing when things are easy and when things are not, when things are comfortable and when things are not, to know and to confront lovingly, but still confronting, saying, this doesn't work, this doesn't feel good. You know, my intuition, my impressions, my instincts, they're going off. Something doesn't feel right. And if you're in a union with a man and you say, I don't feel good, something doesn't feel right, and they're saying anything other than, how can I help you? Or what do you need me to do? Fail. Okay. Because the way that it works spiritually, and this offends some people, I really don't care, but I am prefacing it. The way that it works spiritually, unless a man has been shown to be a king, literally a ruler with a crown who can summon forces from the heavens, they're a servant to the divine feminine, period. The masculine energy yields to the divine feminine. That's how it works, period. Now, it does have other manifestations, but that's the exception, not the rule. The rule is that the masculine energy yields to the feminine. So when the feminine energy is saying that I'm afraid, something doesn't feel right, there's energy that I need to move out of, or I need to move out of this uncomfortable feeling, I need to move through whatever this nagging sensation is. Okay, so that's what's going on, is that the intellect, reasoning, communication, the thoughts, the strategies, the tactics, the theories, techniques, technologies, those are shifting. They were, up until recently, negative. Maybe there was poor thinking, poor belief system, because you know, your actions affect your thoughts affect your actions affect your results reinforce your thinking. Okay, well, behind that, outcomes, performance-based outcomes, are based on behaviors. Where do your behaviors come from? Your actions. Where do your actions come from? Your thoughts. Where do your thoughts come from? Your belief. And if you can't change your belief systems, you need to examine your conditioning and programming. And so now we're coming up with all this data, with all this information about the inputs and the stimuli and how we respond to said stimuli and inputs. And they're not always conscious. Sometimes they're subconscious, or sometimes they're conditioned. There are specific tactics to do mental warfare. There are specific things that need to happen in a specific order or at a specific timing rate to frequency in order to deliberately break a person down, to get them the honeypot, to get them into the sweet spot to be victimized or to be exploited. And there is energy forces out there that have this key core competency on how to abuse and to use. Okay. And so we're needing to come through this cycle with an understanding that, okay, there is something viable to hold on to, there is something viable to covet, but we can't covet anything more than we covered our connection with our true authentic self and the connection with the divine. If anything gets in front of your devotion to the creator, if anything gets in front of your connection to your higher self, it is non-allowable. Anything you place before your higher self, anything you place before your connection to divine, you will lose or you will succumb to the darker forces. That's that on that. That there's no way around that. And listen, sometimes the karma is just the fact that we're having a hard time learning that lesson, or we're unwilling, unable to learn that lesson. Okay. You do need to move to calmer waters. You do need to be spirit-filled and spirit-led. We do need to walk with the ancestors, walk with the divine, walk with the ascended masters, walk with the elevated beings. Or what happens is we get left with the lower vibrational beings. And when you're getting intuitions, impressions from the lower, and that's the devil. You know, love is a prayer to the heavens, just like hate and fear is a prayer to the hell. And so this is this month, this is this cycle, 16th of April through the 15th of May. We're coming into and confronting all the thoughts, all the strategies, all the tactics, all the intellect, all the reasoning, communication, all the theories, techniques, technologies that enslave us. And enslave us mean not knowing our own power, being stuck on a negative path, a non-mutual beneficial, too much channel, not enough speed in the tongue. Non-mutually beneficial nourishing needs exchanges happen when we align our power or give our power away. When we align our power to the dark, align our power to something that's non-universal, non-unified. Okay. And it plays itself out in all types of minuscule ways. I was hearing the word agendas. I just haven't seen it because this 5 is talking about lower vibrational thinking, lower vibrational thinking, thinking, poverty mentality. And the most difficult thing is to give it to God and to have faith that God will get you back, that the creator will hold you, will nourish you, will, you know, that's the difficult part for us usually. And so we get what we need, what we want. There is a wish fulfillment, but we need to have a self-initiation. If we don't become more of our authentic self, but you know, when you make room for the creator or the universe to pull through and to clean things away and to harmonize, then you have all those reversals and transitions, and you come back in alignment with fortune. But your ideas, your mind, your beliefs, your thoughts really do create your reality. Grant me a moment. Oh, I need some chapstick. I'm not really a vanilla fan, but this is what we have here. It's beeswax, so I'll take it. So we enter in here trying to mitigate, matriculate this stinking thinking, and things keep happening that require us to come up against our belief, come up against our thoughts, come up against, you know, even some of our fears. But there's this aha moment. It's more of a confrontation. And there is a celestial, a heavenly judgment. The entirety of the heavens judge. So there is some kind of karmic cycle ending this month, period. Let me just check on that right quickly. Okay, I'm hearing the word forgiveness. Yeah, there's immense power coming, and it is going to remove anything that doesn't need to be there. The crocodile is literally gets rid of treacherous energy in individuals. So when the crocodile is around, a Jakpa Sobek, you know, the first being that ever incarnated in the primordial waters was Koliko, a Jakpa, also known as Sobek. And there was a time in the world when it was treachery. Beings would come to this planet to fight. It literally was a battleground. And then specific types of consciousness got seated in the earth, and the earth became a galactic library where we come in and simulate a specific consciousness space experience according to our frequency, energy, vibration, and that would be according to the being that we were born into. So a gazelle, a lion, a deer, a lamb, they're all going to have different consciousness experiences. Divinity gets anchored into those, apex animals, the wolf, the lion, the dolphin, the elephant, the human. There's a few, 51 of the thousands of different beings that can actually experience that divinity. And if we do the hard thing of confronting the fears, confronting the thinking, things are going to change dramatically this month. There's going to be a hardcore level up where you can't go back. If you've lived in an apartment with your whole life and then all of a sudden you're in a house with a pool, do you think you can move back into an apartment? If you're making $10 an hour your whole life and then you go to making, $400 a day, do you think you can go back to working a minimum wage job? And I'm not bragging on anybody. If you work at minimum wage, great. Thank you. Thank you for your service. The thing is, it's like once you know, you know. It's hard to go back to who you used to be when you're living a bigger, brighter, and better life, when you're living a bigger, brighter, and better existence, when you're living a bigger, brighter, and better vibration. There's a judgment here and things get reconciled accordingly. So I also want to say, if there's been any type of interference in the relationship, it can be root workers, it could be evil witches, it could be the evil eye, it could be haters, it could be intentional sabotagers, it could be frenemies, it could be insurgents, it could be espionage, it could be anything. If there's anything that is trying to block love from coming through, it's going to be rectified. But we need to go towards God. We need to go towards Creator. We need to go towards Allah, Buddha, Shekinah, Jehovah, whatever. I'll stop saying that, but it is true. There's a lot of refinement of what I just said that came through. I took a minute. So really the test, the trick, the impetus, the pivotal moment, the core ingredient, the necessary ingredient in order for this grace to come is purity of the soul. Clean your soul up. Don't harbor no nasty inside. Because we will go through a lot of things that can be overwhelming, but as long as we are true, authentic, genuine, sincere, compassionate, nurturing, loving, full of divinity, whatever's going down, we're still going to be all right. It's almost like we need to choose one thing. Don't worry about who you're choosing. Worry about being with the creator, having some connection to the divine. That's the shift. Because love is the answer, desire is the key. So sometimes we love everything, or sometimes we become overwhelmed by love, or sometimes we start living in fantasy. And I don't want to say love of the self, but you need to be secure in the self, and that comes from self-love. So when we go down the journey of self-love, we're going to have a couple trials and tribulations, and then the curse is broken, the spell is lifted. I keep getting that there is external sabotage, and it's not always somebody is targeting us directly, but we may come up in the dragnet of evil. The evil may be going towards anybody that's about to ascend. The evil may be going towards anybody that's about to receive a blessing. And we may not be the specific one they're targeting, but we come up on the target list. We come up in the dragnet because they're doing an investigation to see who's about to be blessed, who's about to be chosen, who's about to be informed that they are a chosen individual or a divine being. And so the attack is coming, but it's this cunning, baffling, deceptive, subtle kind of attack where they want us to be just moving the camera. They want us to be mired in conflict, lost and distracted. And it's not what's happening. What's happening is we are confronting what we've come to believe in from the perspective of how we've been conditioned and programmed since birth. And some conditioning and programming is generational. The last 4, 5, 6 times we've incarnated here in this realm, we've come under this conditioning and programming. It may be ancestral, it may be genetic, it may be generational. We're breaking a lot of curses over this next month because the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may derail it, but in the end, there it is. You know, the devil, an evil being, whether they're a person, place, or thing, evil, can only perpetuate the illusion as long as we allow. And the first taking back of the power is to know yourself, your authentic self. If you forget who you are as good as dead. And if you don't know what to value, it's going to be lost. Now, that's the rule, not the exception. Okay. If you're the exception or you understand the exception, you need to keep that to yourself because that's a secret that you keep as a priestess. The thing about the high priestess is that she's insightful and there is a lot that she can't reveal. She can only reveal according to what is asked. So if you don't ask the question, you won't get the answer from her. She's not going to volunteer it unless she's sent on orders. And that would be the chief minister, literally, of the government, who's her boss. So, you know, we're moving through this cycle, having broken something, breaking a curse, breaking an illusion, breaking a spell. It's different strokes for different folks, but it's all of us shaking off caca, shaking off crap, shaking off the remnants of evil or the mechanisms that invite more evil and chaos into our life. Fives all have to deal with chaos. I did not see the Hierophant yet, so I'm not seeing the order over chaos. We still have something to help us, the Judgment card. You know, it's like we don't always know what to do. We don't always know how to call it what it is. We don't always have, you know, the knowledge space, the language structure to recognize. We don't always have the recognition, but we're going through these processes where we have to confront all this confrontation, dark journey of the soul, confront all these breakdowns, upheavals, dissolutions, destruction, decrustation, dismantleization of the systems, the structures, the foundations that have been built up to keep us enslaved. And love is usually in the lower dimension, it's slavery. And I say that and it upsets people, that I have nothing against love. But spiritual love and higher love is much different than lower love. You know, the word husband is this enslavement device that was designed by the Danish, and it came from animal husbandry, when literally women were considered property. And in the lower dimensions, love is literally like a spiritual gentrification. It's designed to push out lesser desirable beings, not for positivity though. So once this dismantleization, once this destruction, once this reckoning comes, we're going to be able to defend something in ourselves when before we barely had the knowledge even to know that we were under some kind of disproportionate energy. It may be an attack for others, it may be sabotage for others, it may be maladaptive ideas and belief systems for others. It's going to be different strokes for different folks. But once this reckoning happens, we move into alignment. We choose to become chosen again because we leave karma. We purify it. We walk out of any karma that's not ours. We claim and return. We reclaim our power. That means we revoke, we rescind any agreements, any ties, any alignments that are not really, truly, genuinely respectful of our God sovereign self. So that means strength, courage, and wisdom is what we're giving. We start to receive the fruits of our labor because something has been blocking, and it may have been our own mind, but it was still somebody else because we were conditioned and programmed with stinking thinking. But even if we didn't do it to ourselves, we have to take responsibility because we're the ones coming to the consciousness that something's not right. The problem's landed in our lap. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. We're going to be the ones to deal with it. And once we decide to deal with it, because it's affecting us, is when we get blessed. Up until recently, there's been a lot of dispersion, even casting airs, distracting from the problem, buffering, not really showing up, participating, and being present because it's just easier to, or indulgent, wanting to feel better instead of hard work, elbow grease, those types of things. That means we were part of the problem, essentially. We were giving permission for these things, these experiences to be happening to us. Okay, so remember I was talking about our Jackpot, Sobek, Koliko. Second time he's come. The treachery is going to be culled away this month, period. I'm hearing It's Gonna Be All Right. Some Kanye song. I don't know the lyrics because I do not care. But growth, vitality, expansion comes because on the divine feminine side, we have strength, courage, and wisdom. On the divine masculine side, we have completion, culmination, graduation. Growth, expansion, vitality, renewal, reinvigoration, vitality. Healing, enlightenment, enumeration, being chosen, getting the keys back into the chosen. We were cut out from a lot because it was too easy for the devil to ride our backs into heaven, so we got kicked out of the house. We kept bringing nasty friends home to God's house, so God took our keys away for a while. We're getting them back this month. This is the wrong deck. It's not for the revolving door. It's for the more divine love. This is the... So we're breaking free this month for sure. There's a lot of illegitimate authority, illegitimate thoughts, illegitimate conditioning, programming, illegitimate everything. And it can't be reactionary. So that's been the thing. And there's going to be some rage this month, and it can destroy a lot. But for those of us who can come with love, who can come with light, who can come with compassion, even for those who are harming us, those who are hurting us, those who are toxic to us, those who shouldn't be walking forward with us, then there will be social change. There's a collective shift this month as well. This month, y'all, there's a collective shift. So some of us who are still stuck in the dark, who are no longer dark beings, will be let out of hell, essentially. So there's too much delusion. A lot of people don't know what God is, don't know what the divine is. They have this mislabeling, misjudging, misperceiving. They also have this like virtue signaling, respectability politics. So that's shaming, individuality shaming, unique shaming, eccentric shaming, and there's a lot of blaming, scapegoating. There's a lot of shushing, tisking, just othering, making wrong, making bad, vilifying. We're coming back into alignment with the creator. And that's what truly, you see how we have this like double sun energy? That's called fueling the harvest. So the elk is the masculine father for the earthbound creatures. It's like the deer would be the feminine mother for the earthbound creatures. We also have restore and replenish. It's card number 38, that's 11. So that's an expansion of strength, courage, and wisdom, equaling alignment with the divine. We also have here mystic in the center, a purple card, revels in the intimate union with the divine. So we get some kind of protection, healing, replenishment this month because we're stepping into, on the feminine side, curiosity and inspiration, a love of honor, a love of virtue, a love of valor. On the masculine side, which can be external energy, it can be the collective, or it can be an actual divine masculine. Here it would be distorted masculine because I don't like the word karmic. Karmic is when you stay with somebody that's no longer in alignment. So here, there's a many things that we've come to this earth to receive. And we do need humility, and we need to be seeking all the time, and we need to be open to the divine. And if we think we know it all, we think we got it all, we're going to block out blessings. And there is, virtue, intuition, clairvoyance, abundance. There is things to bring in, but you see, it does require some kind of skill. It does require some type of adeptness, but it also requires us to be spirit-led and spirit-guided. Seriously, spirit-led, spirit-guided. It does require us to be spirit-led and spirit-guided. So we do need to clean away from our, we need to go down to the depths and then climb back up. So we have a full completion. We know the good and bad and the ugly. We know exactly where hell is located, what frequency, energy, vibration that is, what bad neighborhood that is in the divine realm to avoid that whole nine. We need a full embodied picture of what the divine is. And then we need to step back and be humble and this is especially if you're a man or divine masculine, we need to be humble. We need to be a vessel of the spirit, a vessel of the divine, because the commanding and the command and the rulership is really in the divine feminine. So they are the ones that have the being, the nature that is aligned with the divine, and they're the ones who can model the divine universe, and they're the ones who are going to bring that divine universe into the physical. It's not an ego thing. You could be in a male form and have a lot more femininity to you, but also the divine feminine has had too much allegiance to destructive patterns because the masculine has been in control, and that's truly the archetype of the controller, the colonizer, coming in and labeling people XYZ LMP, corralling them into different groups, different classes, different circles. Just think about it. Why would a man ever tell a woman what to do with her uterus? Think about it this way. If you don't have a uterus, why are you telling another person with a uterus what to do with said uterus? Instance, I'm talking about abortion here. which I don't believe in, but for spiritual reasons, I definitely respect a person's right. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's a health reason. You know, me, myself personally, I'm a product of rape. That's how I got born here. So, you know, it's one of those revolving doors. You got the doors revolving because energy is being repelled, it's being purged. And we should be inspired to be ourselves because now energy that should be coming towards us, it's been trying to get to us for a long time, it's finally here. There's been a lot of things blocking, like that abortion example I was given. Why are these men legislating other people's vaginas? I don't understand that. That's the example they're telling me. Like, look at the, it's not my business to talk about abortion, but like what I'm being told right now is like, think about how preposterous, how ridiculous, what a lunatic to think that you can come in and legislate somebody's uterus. Like, what the F is wrong with you, dude? That's like what the spirits are saying like right now. Like, that's a very key core example of the evil present in today's world. People that have nothing to do with what they're going after and talking about are in control. People that have no way to stand in integrity and virtue. And I'm sorry to talk about this, it's a sensitive subject. So what that means is that the powers that be are becoming the powers that were. That the old system is on the way out. This is the month where the seed gets planted, where a year from now, it'll be massively different. And I'm sorry to bring up such an example. It's just what the intuition said. They gave me the example of like, look how insulting, how infuriating, and how ludicrous that is. A man to tell a woman what to do with her own anatomy. Like, that's kind of the basic filament and fundamental nature of the world right now. People are running their mouth and telling people what to do who have no business even having an opinion. That's what I'm trying to say. So restore and replenish, it's card number 38 on page 149 by by Alana Fairchild's Sacred Rebel Wisdom Oracle. Your need is something so much deeper than rest. You need restoration and replenishment, revival. This will not necessarily come from lying around about somewhere, taking a moment out of your day or evening activities. You're more likely to gain what you need by breaking with your routine completely and doing or being something very different. You need some variety, some spice, some change to bring fresh energy into your body, into your mind, into your heart, into your soul. You need to restore and revive yourself by changing the usual flow of energy through your being. You could stimulate this process by going to a different place, meeting different people, or taking different action than that which you would usually do. You can return to your regular routine in time if it feels good for you. However, it is time to move without pushing yourself beyond what is known, comfortable, and familiar. This oracle comes with a message for you from the loving guardian, which is life itself. You have been working so hard and have accomplished so much already. However, you often sell your accomplishments short and focus on how much more is yet to be done. Life is telling you that it is time to put down the paintbrush, the pen, the endless limits, and the thinking mind, and to get into your body. Take time to experience yourself in and out in nature. Remember just how to be. In doing so, even for turn the page, relatively short amount of time, you will feel more of yourself. You will feel more yourself and ready for the next phase. You might even be surprised with what just a day or two could do for you. Restoration does not have to be long and involved process, especially if it is attended to when needed. This oracle is also a confirmation that you are in an important transition phase between one level of experience and the very next. If you feel as though you're treading water or are in a sort of purgatory, somewhere between your old life and the new one, then this particularly applies to you. If you cannot quite break into the next level you are reaching for, have faith. You're just taking a breather between races. Soon you will have the power and the energy you need to reach that next level and succeed. If you have been considering a new endeavor or have recently started one, then this oracle brings a message of encouragement. Yes, this is a good step forward for you, my dear. You might be worried that you're taking on too much. You are encouraged to take time out to rest and rebalance yourself. But you are supported in your need for different experiences to refresh your spirit. You may let some of these new endeavors go once you have gained what you need from them. However, they are useful for you now. You're encouraged to trust yourself and to know what you are working, and to know that you are working consciously to meet your own needs. And this is healthy and good. Healing process. Imagine that you're floating on an ocean that has colors of turquoise and deep green and the darkest and deepest of blues. Notice the colors feel good. Enter and remain in that space for as long as you like. The water might be warm and sparkling, shallow and heated by the sun, or cool, deep, and mysterious. Allow it to be whatever feels good. When you're ready to open your eyes and break this routine of yours, you have completed the healing process. Those colors that they were talking about, blues and greens and turquoises, they're healing colors. Like in prison, and I know a lot about criminal science, but in prison, when there's an altercation, they'll oftentimes take the people and put them in either an all blue or all gray room because it's impossible to be raging if you're surrounded by blue. Okay, it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing the privilege to do so. Again, I'm sorry for talking about that abortion reference, but it's what came through. Normally I'd keep my mouth shut, but it was an open channel. Okay, take good care. Talk to you soon. Bye.